there comes Helen. She can be right there. There's plenty of room. So, let yourself get comfortable. Take your time. Get blankets under you if you want to, or whatever you want to sit up on, if it feels better to sit up. And remember, on the floor, do whatever feels good for your your hips. Stretch your legs out or sit cross-legged, whatever works. Not putting any kind of stress into your knees or your hips. And then just close your eyes gently and let yourself enjoy feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. But at first, don't do anything except watch your breath. Watch where it goes. Watch what part of your body moves as you start to just watch the breath in and out. And then direct your breath a little bit. So let yourself feel your inhales coming into your belly. So you feel your belly rise and expand a little bit. Feeling the breath coming into those three parts if you're comfortable to inhale into the belly, into the ribs, and all the way up into your chest. And then we'll release our arms right on down alongside us. So if you're on the floor, lightly touching the floor with your fingertips here now. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And let's make a big arm circle. Bring your arms forward first. And as much as you can up overhead, and then as much as you can behind you. If it hurts your shoulder, don't do it. Just don't go so far. And then we'll reverse the arms. We'll reach back first, and then up and over the top, and then bring the arms on forward and down. Good. And let's inhale the hands straight out from the shoulders. No, let's go lower than the shoulders, right? So if you're on the floor, your hands will clear the floor. Flex your hands, and then tilt your head just a little bit to the right. Let the right ear come towards the right shoulder. And then ease your way back up to the top and just tilt your head a little bit the other way. You might feel pretty tight in your neck, just be mindful. And then let yourself come on back up. Release your arms on down beside you. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, let's twist to our right. So wake up your spine a little bit. Really feel that ease of finding the twist in the middle of your back. Feels very natural. One more inhale. And as you exhale, come on back around through center and all the way into the other direction. Just enjoy feeling that movement through the spine. So one more breath. And as you exhale, come on back around into center. And let's take a nice inhale here. If you're in your chair, you might want to get a little bit away from the back of your chair. Because when you exhale, you're going to draw your navel towards your spine and really draw yourself into like you're doing cat pose. Rounding the spine here, drop your head, let your chin come towards your chest. And then when you inhale, send your sits bones down, roll up through the spine, come back to a nice long back here. So when you exhale, think of the navel pulling towards the spine. Your tailbone curls forward, right? And you're rounding into your back. Let your head release forward. And then when you inhale, again, send your sits bones down, roll up through your spine till your head's back on top. We'll do it one more time. Exhale, draw the navel towards the spine. Let yourself release there. And then when you inhale, sit bones go down and you roll back up. Let your head be the last thing to come on back up there. Good. And let's switch our legs if we're cross-legged on the floor. You can stretch your legs out in between whether you're cross-legged or not. If you want to stretch your legs out, do. And then if you were cross-legged, just switch around and bring your other leg in front. And let's let our arms come on out beside us again. And inhale both arms all the way out of overhead. And on the exhale, let the hands come down together in front of our hearts. And from here, let's clasp our hands. Interlace your fingers. Squeeze your palms together. Kind of interesting to note which thumb you have on top. Everybody, has a natural way to do that. So see which thumb you have on top, and then undo your hands and make your other thumb be on top as you clasp them the other way. Squeeze those palms towards each other. Let yourself really feel that activation up into your biceps and your shoulders. Good. And then come back to letting your hands come into prayer hands, spreading the fingers wide, feeling connected there. And then clasp the hands your normal way and press your heels of your hands forward out from your chest. So really feeling your wrists here, feel your fingers. Start to slowly float your arms on up. And this is all different for everybody's shoulders, how far up you want to go. So if you want your hands to get all the way above your head, you can. And if you're like, no way will my shoulders do that, don't do it. Be where you can. Let yourself feel equal through the sides of the body. Press into the heels of the hands. Feel your sitting bones drawing down. Good. And then release your arms. Let them float on down beside you here now. And let's circle our hands around just a little bit. Let your hands move into circles. Both directions. When you're ready, you just switch. You can even wiggle your fingers open and close your hands a little bit to shake them out. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So if you don't want to be on your knees on the floor, don't be on your knees. And if you don't want to be flat on your hands, if that's too much in your wrists, use your fists if you need to, or put a blanket underneath your hands. Sometimes that helps. Also, coming down to your forearms to move through your cat-cows is fine. So you want to be able to be comfortable enough to where you can focus on your spine and the movement through your spine, not feeling discomfort in your hands, right, or your wrists. So take your time and ease your way through. Feel that tailbone initiate as you move through your spine. Enjoy that ease and flow through the back. And if you have a place where you need to stay, if you need to stay in your cat or your cow pose for a couple of breaths without moving, because you just feel like that would feel natural to your spine to have some time to adjust to do. And then finish off the one you're on or that you're moving into. And let's come on back to a more neutral spine. And bring our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into a lunge here. So, as you make your way into lunge, get those feet a little apart like you're on narrow railroad tracks. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Feel that nice sense of zipping up your low belly a little bit while you stretch out the back of that right leg. Good. And then we're going to switch our legs. So coming to the other side. Bring that left foot back. Take your time again. You can have your feet as far apart the long way as you want. You do want a little width between your feet so that you feel comfortable up into your hips. Engage your belly a little bit. Good. We're going to switch again. So this time, once you get really into the length of stance where you feel good, make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. You can, if you want, float your left hand or forearm up to your thigh. If you feel like you want to get out of your hands a little bit, you can do that. Not necessary, but you can. And then we're going to switch again. Bring our hands on down and come back to the right foot forward, the left foot back. Find that lunge at first. And then again, kind of decide if lifting up a hand or so feels good or not. Really be mindful. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other a little bit. Feel how your belly and your back engage. And then we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to step forward and come into standing forward bend. So be easy. Take your time. If you need to bend your knees a little bit or walk a little bit, you can always bend one knee and lift the heel up and work through your feet a little bit too. Use support, obviously. If you need support, hands on the blocks or the chair, forearms on the chair, or you can put your elbows above your knees too. And just be mindful. If you can let your head nod or shake a little bit, do just a little bit of movement if that feels good. So feeling that weight of your head and letting your face release. And just releasing through your jaw too. If you feel kind of tense a little bit, moving your mouth around sometimes helps. And then watch those full deep breaths. Expanding the ribs as you inhale. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll let our hands come up to our hips, press into our feet to rise on up. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, as our hands come down to be in front of our hearts, let ourselves come into mountain pose. So adjust however you need. If you need to get your feet changed a little bit and how they are, let yourself feel that sense of being grounded through your feet equally. Press gently down into your feet a little bit. Feel your hands together there in front of your chest. Feel each finger connected, your thumbs. Let yourself feel as open as you can across your chest. And remember that tailbone reaching down towards between your heels, so you feel really aligned, and it's natural to want to stack up really. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. And even thinking about your ears being over your shoulders. So finding that alignment for your head, where it feels like it's floating up there on top. And then let's unfold our arms right on back down beside us and inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees, come on forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice flat, long back, wherever you want your hands to give you support. And we'll step our right foot back and come into lunge. So press the feet gently away from each other. Let yourself feel that engagement there in the core of the body. One more inhale. And exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So your down dog is your choice. Whether your hands are on the floor, the blocks, or the chair, reach back through your sitting bones. Feel your elbows softly hugging towards each other a little bit. And then bend one knee at a time in your dog. Let yourself walk your dog a little bit. Good. And come on back to your full dog. We're going to come out towards a plank only if you know that's okay for you, right? You can come into that push-up pose with your knees down for a half plank. You're more than welcome to go to your forearms and get out of your arms and your hands entirely. Or you can do little push-ups in your plank, or you can stay in that plank just engaging the belly, reaching your sitting bones down towards your heels. Good. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Let yourself enjoy feeling equally long through the sides of your body too, right? We're going to come on back with the right foot forward to find lunge. So if you need to put your left knee down or both knees down to get back into that lunge, do. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And then just breathe. Really, just let your breath expand your ribs in all directions. See if you can let those little spaces between your breaths just feel like you're really releasing deeper in those little spaces. So you at the end of your inhale, you feel that little pause and you just relax a little deeper. And when you exhale, you feel a little pause at the end and you try again and just let go a little more. Good. One more nice full breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, press into our feet. We're going to come on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms and let yourself bring your hands to palms to touch the outside of your legs there. So you're just pressing gently into your own legs. Now when you do that, try not to round forward, right? Feel that openness across your chest. And then we'll rise the right arm all the way out and up overhead. Slide your left hand down your leg a little bit and come on over into side stretch here. Still stay connected with that left hand down there. Breathing into the right side. Reaching up through the fingertips and reaching down into that right foot. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to slowly lower that right arm all the way down and go ahead and connect it to your leg with the palm. And we'll inhale the left arm all the way up. And then again, slide the hand down. Let yourself really, again, enjoy opening up through the left ribs. So as you reach up through the fingertips and reach down into that left foot, you have a nice long side body there. We're going to rise back up and we're going to lower the arm on down. We're going to clasp our hands behind us. See if you can from here, just let your hands come a little bit away from you when you inhale and back down when you exhale. If this hurts your shoulders, don't do it. So if you can inhale the hands away a little bit, do, and exhale, let them come back down. And then inhale them away a little bit. And then exhale, let them come back down. We're going to release the arms down beside us and inhale them all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees and come on forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back. And this time, left foot will step back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So ease your way back into that down dog. Again, keeping your hands whatever height you like. Get comfortable for your shoulders. Let your elbows feel like they're holding a beach ball there between them so that you're softly hugging in a little bit and you feel that up into your shoulders. Good. And then we're going to come on out towards that plank. Again, you do not have to do a full plank. You can go to forearms. You can let yourself put your knees down. Take your time. If you want to bend your elbows, do little push-ups in your plank, by all means do. One more breath. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge here. Good. And then we'll come all the way back into our standing forward bend. Now you might want some support here. We're going to let our left foot come a little more to the midline and cross our right ankle in front of our left. Your toes are still trying to face the front of your mat. And that right foot, you're trying to get it all the way onto the floor, but you might be rolling a little to the pinky toe side of the foot. That's fine. It's really the back leg that you're going to start to feel this in the most. Up into the outside of that back leg, all the way maybe up into your outer hip. So again, you may want to be up higher. You may feel like, oh, well, I really want to bring my hands down lower. It's totally up to you. One more breath, really letting yourself feel it up into the hips, into the outside and the back of the legs. One more breath. We're going to uncross then, and we're going to switch to put the right foot a little more to the midline of the body. Cross the left ankle in front. So again, you're kind of trying to get that left front foot pretty much onto the floor, but if you roll a little to the outside, it's okay. And if you need to bend your knees, right? You can keep your knees bent in this. You can come into straighter legs. You just, don't overdo. It's pretty intense in that back leg, up into your outer hip. Good. So one more breath. And then we'll uncross, get our feet hips distance apart and parallel right underneath us again. We're going to bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And let's sit back into a little chair pose. So shift your hips back a little bit. Let your hands stay at your heart for now. And it's really like just, you can stay high. You don't have to be going low, low, low in a chair pose. You can go lower if you want. You can even shift your weight back a little more to your heels if you want to bend your knees a little deeper. And then send your hands forward, clasp your hands, send your pointer finger out, hug your elbows towards each other. And just look right out over the top of your pointer fingers, like you're looking right where they're pointing, right out and beyond. So one more breath here. Really feel your feet equal in the floor. And then we're going to rise on up, release our arms on down beside us, and inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to come on forward into that standing forward bend again. Let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back. And we're going to step into down dog from here. So your hands go to whatever height you like your hands to be, to reach back now into that long spine. And if you need to walk a little bit, walk your dog. Bend a knee at a time. Or maybe you feel good to bend both knees. That's up to you. Good. And then from here, we're going to come on out towards a plank. You don't have to do a full one. You know that. If you want to add a back bend, you can. Totally optional. You can come down to the floor and do a Sphinx or a Cobra. You can come through for an up dog if you choose. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. Take your time. Enjoy your dog. Let yourself feel really good about feeling the whole body stretching out here. And then we'll come on back out again to that plank. And again, it is totally unnecessary to do a back bend, but you can if you want to come down to the floor and do a Sphinx or a Cobra, or come through for an up dog. And then we'll make our way again back into downward facing dog pose. And this time, let's bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. Good, and then we'll step all the way back into our standing forward bend and get comfortable, whatever support you need. And you know, anything that feels good. I mean, you can stack blocks up on the seat of your chair and be out of your hands and be comfortable, right? Or if bending your knees really deeply and letting your elbows rest above your knees to give your back support is a good way for you to release, there do. Because you don't want to feel discomfort in your back. But you do want to just let that torso coming forward here allow the backs of the legs to just gently open up. Watch your breath again all the way in and all the way out. Feel that expansion of the rib cage as you inhale. One more breath. And then as we start to rise up, bring yourself on up easily. We're going to inhale the arms once we're up, all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. From here, release your arms out into a T position. Let your palms face down. Reach out through your fingertips. And then just bring your right arm on top of your left. Give yourself a nice hug. Let your elbows melt down. Let your head tilt a little bit from one side to the other too, just easily. And you know, where you hold is totally up to you. Good. And then let the head come on back up to the top. We're going to unfold our arms back to that T position. And then we're going to bring the other arm on top. So bringing your left arm on top of your right. And again, hug easy, elbows melt. And then let that head tilt a little bit. Let yourself be, you know, really mindful. If you find a tight place and you go, oh, I just want to stay right here. And oftentimes, you know, it is not just the side of your neck here, but it's into between your shoulder blade and your spine back there, right, that you really feel this. Oh, you can even give a little massage here to any tightness you feel there. And then we're going to rise on back up. And we're going to release our arms on down beside us. And let your arms hang in your mountain pose, like however they naturally hang. So you're very open across your chest. You're not letting your shoulders roll forward. Feel the belly engaging, the tailbone dropping down. And let yourself lengthen upward through the top of your head. Good. And just shake everything out a little bit. Walk around a little bit. We're going to do some warrior poses. So I'm going to turn my chair around. Have your blocks handy too, but I'm going to turn my chair around, so if you're using your chair, we're going to come into Warrior 2 first, stepping our right foot back. So your left foot is forward, facing toes towards that front edge of your mat, and your back foot is about parallel to the back edge of your mat. How deeply you bend that front knee has to do with how far apart your feet are, right? Because you don't want the knee to go out beyond your toes. So you can make it more or less long of a stance. And then see if you can just let your hands come to your heart. Feel very balanced here. Even though your front knee is bent, your back leg is straight. See if you can feel balanced from right to left. It's asymmetrical, but you're still balanced. And then let's inhale the hands right up through the midline of the body. Open them into a wide V. Turn your pinkies a little more in towards each other. So now you're really lifted up through both sides of your body. And turn the palms away from each other now and lower the arms down for Warrior 2, bringing your gaze right out over the top of that left hand. Reach equally out through both sets of fingertips without tensing your shoulders up. So letting the tops of the shoulders release down. It's like you're holding your arms up from underneath. It's like they're growing out of your shoulders, out of your back, really. Let's turn the left palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. Coming into Reverse Warrior, you can go back a little further if you want with your hand or go straight up. One more breath. And on the exhale, we'll come into Side Angle where you either bring your hand or your forearm to your thigh or your chair if you want, right? So you're extending your torso out over that front leg. You can add the top right arm up only if your shoulder lets you. It can come into line with the right side of the body. Or it can go straight up from your shoulder if that feels better. And you want to do something with your shoulder, but it hurts to bring it in. So don't overdo. Be where you can there, finding that length through both sides of the body. Good. We're going to come on back to Warrior 2, pressing those feet away from each other as we come, reaching out through the fingertips. Feel that solid strength here now as you press your feet away from each other. And we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel and come on into that wide-legged forward bend. So you can grab your blocks, you know that, but also if you want your feet a little wide or a little less wide, go ahead and adjust. You can always start to bend a knee at a time too, if that feels good. So take your time when you do move. Just make sure as you bend a knee at a time that's not putting too much pressure into your knees. And then come on back to center. Let both knees bend for a second here. So you're still, you've got your knees bent. You're going to press your feet away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer. And feel how your inner thighs want to melt their way behind you. And that's what you want to feel. And your sit bones kind of widen out a little bit. Take your time there. And then let yourself come forward only to the point where you feel okay to do that. In other words, use blocks if you want to put your hands or your forearms. If you want to get out of your hands, you can stack your blocks up and let yourself still stay with a long back. Or you can fold more forward and over so that the top of the head releases towards the ground. So don't do anything that's too much, in other words, right? Be really mindful of your back, your hips. Knees can stay bent, knees can come straighter, but just let yourself enjoy opening up through the hips, feeling that stretch in the low back. And watch your breaths all the way in and out. Really appreciate those full, deep breaths. So as you feel that expansion of the ribs as you inhale, and then when you exhale, the ribs coming back in. Good. One more breath. Now, when you think about rising up, it is totally up to you how you get yourself back up. And if you're dizzy at all, that's another thing to be aware of. So you can keep your feet wider if you feel kind of dizzy. You can hold on to a chair if you want. Let yourself just move around a little bit through your feet and your ankles. We're going to go to the other side. So Take your time to get set up now with your left foot stepping back. And line your heels up. Get that right toes facing the front of the mat so when you bend the knee, it comes out over the center of your foot. And then again, how far apart your feet are, totally up to you. Could be 18 inches, 2 feet, 3 feet, or more, right? And then when you're ready, letting your hands come to be in front of your heart so that again, you just think about feeling very balanced here. So feeling equal really between your legs. So that you don't feel like you're putting more weight into one leg or the other, or even the hips feel really equal even though one leg's straight and one is bent. We're going to inhale the hands up through the midline, come into that wide open V. Turn your pinkies a little more towards each other. Feel like your arms are growing out of your back. And then turn your palms away from each other. We're going to slowly lower the arms down for Warrior Two, turning to look out over the top of that right hand. So again, finding that strength as you feel your feet equal in the floor. Reach out through the fingertips. Feel really comfortable in the level you have your head, so you don't really want to lift your chin up, but you don't want to drop it down. It's just looking easily out over the top of your hand. We're going to turn the right palm up and inhale. Reach up towards the sky. Let your left hand give you a little support there on your leg. Nice full breath into the right side. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle where you either put your hand or your forearm on your chair or your thigh. How low you go is up to you, but you're trying to stay long. And adding that left arm up is totally optional. You know that. You can have the arm up into line with the left side of the body, or you can have the arm straight up from your shoulder if you want to do something, but bringing the in by the head is too much. Or keep your hand down on your hip, right? But be mindful. Really enjoy finding that length through both sides of the body. Nice. One more breath. We're going to come on back to Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other to get right back into that strength there. Very strong pose of your Warrior Two. And then we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to turn our feet again more parallel. And we're going to make our way forward. So you can bend your knees, you know that. Grab whatever you want, whether you like to put your hands on blocks any height or the floor. And go ahead and adjust a little bit, however you need. If you want to bend a knee at a time, do. Or just kind of adjust your feet to a bit different. Totally up to you. And then once you kind of get, okay, this is good distance for my feet to be apart, let's walk over to the right. You can always walk your blocks over, or you can walk your hands over towards the right. And hold on to the outside of your ankle if you want. But just stay and breathe there. Feel the left foot pressing a little more away from the midline. And then walk back through center and go over towards your left. Again, it doesn't matter how far, whether you're using blocks or your hands or walking over to your foot. Once you get as far as you want to go, press the right foot a little more away from the midline so you engage a little more into that inner thigh. Good. We're going to walk back into center. We're going to find a long back. Now you can keep your knees bent or you can have them straight, either one. Let's add a little twist. So bringing your hands right underneath you, a little closer together maybe, more to your inner shoulders. And then bring your right hand on up to your right hip and roll that shoulder up and come into twist. Press the feet away from each other, lengthen out through the top of your head. And then we'll lower that right hand on back down. We're going to go to the left hand on up. Press the feet away from each other as you roll that shoulder up and you look to your left. Finding that twist in the middle of your back. And then we'll come on back down with that hand. And go ahead and let yourself, again, find where you feel really comfortable to be in this pose. You know, you may want to stack blocks up. You may want to use your head down on blocks. You may want to hold your ankles. Or you might want to have your hands between your feet. So it's different for everybody to come into this pose where they're able to be without stress in the upper body. So take your time, let yourself give your body time to adjust as you watch your breath. All the way in and all the way out. One more nice full deep breath. And now be really mindful again, when you rise up, how you do that is up to you, right? Whether you like to change your feet before you come up or walk them together after you get up, but move through your feet and your ankles again if that feels good to you. And from here, we're either going to turn our chair around to have the seat of the chair faces, or get both your blocks, right? Because all we're going to do is bring our hands down to either block's highest height or the chair seat. And we're going to step our right foot back into a lunge. So coming into that normal lunge with the right foot back and letting yourself just take your time, adjust there. Good. And now we're going to come into pyramid pose. So we're going to come into that right foot coming down to the floor, turned out maybe 20 or 30 degrees. And we're going to come into both legs straight, being straight. Thighs are engaging up towards the hips. Your spine is really long. So think about a flat back if you can. So if you know your tendency is to round up into your back a little bit, kind of, if you let your head hang and you look back at your back foot, that kind of rounds your back. But if you think about dropping your chest down and looking down more towards between your hands, then you maybe come into a flatter back there. Imagine you have a yardstick in your back, right? You're kind of lining your back up with that yardstick. Feel the backs of the legs engaging. Good. One more breath here. Good. We're going to bend the front knee, step forward with that right foot, and right away step your left foot back into lunge, right? The normal lunge at first. You might even want to take it a little bit longer lunge just to really give yourself time to stretch out there. Feel the whole back of the leg. Now as we proceed into that pyramid, and you put that left foot down, most of us, if you're in a pretty long lunge, you have to bring it up in slightly. So heel goes to the floor, both legs are straight, thighs are lifting up towards the hips. And again, imagine that flat back, right? So you're really engaging your legs. As your thighs are lifting upward, you're engaging all the muscles around your knees. Give your body time to adjust there. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to step forward again with our left foot, and we're going to step our right foot back again to lunge. Go back into that lunge again. Find that lunge is only as long as you want the stance to be. Make sure that front knee is safely bent there. And we're going to bring our left hand to our left hip and roll that left shoulder up and come into twist here in our lunge. And you can keep your hand on your back or your hip. Or if you want, you can stretch your arm up. That really depends on your shoulder, right? So whether you like to keep your hand down or let yourself rise that arm up, come into that twist in the middle of your back. And then we'll release to bring our hand back down. We're going to switch legs. So stepping that left foot back. Finding lunge. Again, now how long of a stance you take, it's immaterial, but be safe in that front knee. Right hand is going to come up to your hip and it roll that shoulder up. If you can put your hand on your low back too. Lengthen out through the top of the head and back through that inner heel. Good. One more breath. And then bringing your hand on back down, we're going to step forward and let's come into our standing forward bend. So get your feet hips distance apart and parallel. Be mindful if you need support under your hands or your forearms, use it. But just really try to release that upper body. Let yourself enjoy feeling those breaths, full deep breaths, all the way in, all the way out. Let your face soften. See if you can just let yourself feel really released around your eyes and your mouth. Good. One more full deep breath here. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose, take your time. Let's really adjust into mountain very easily. Start with your feet and kind of imagine that you have roots growing down out of your feet into the ground. See if you can bend your knees a little bit. Imagine you're pushing the floor equally away from you with your feet for a second. And then you're going to grow up out of those rooted feet. You're going to think about starting to lift upward with your thighs a little bit. You know, you don't want to lock your knees though. Get your pelvis aligned where your tailbone's dropping down. Feel your hips come over your ankles, your shoulders over your hips. Enjoy that quiet strength of simply standing aligned in your mountain pose. Good, and then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down beside us and move around a little bit, shake out. We're going to walk to a wall, but you leave your mat where it is, and we'll just walk over where you can put a hand on the wall, where you feel like you are in a good spot to do that. It can be, there are all kinds of wall space, anywhere you want, Helen. Let's do left hand towards the wall, and we're going to come into tree pose standing on our left foot. So with your tree, you can bring that foot in either with your heel on your inside of your ankle and your toes on the floor, or you can bring the foot up to the inside of your calf or up to the inside of your inner thigh if you so choose, right? Now keep your hand on the wall for just a second. Just indulge me. Keep your left hand on the wall. Let your gaze come forward, and now close your eyes. Don't let go of the wall when your eyes are closed, but see if you can just let yourself feel that lift through the front of the left hip. Feel the connection of your right foot or heel into your leg. Feel like the leg is coming back towards your foot, right? So the inside of your leg is kind of moving back in towards that foot that's there, or the heel. And then open your eyes up. See if you can rise your arms both up overhead, and maybe you want to balance there with your arms kind of in a wider V. Maybe you still want to hold the wall with your left hand or fingertips. Just enjoy one more breath here. And then bring your hands on down. Turn to face the wall. Put both your hands on the wall. Stand on your right foot now. And bring your left knee up like you're stepping up a step. But you're kind of leaning forward. And then you're going to reach that foot back into a low warrior three. Very low. Just reaching back behind you. And then you're going to bring the knee back. And again, bring the knee up like you're stepping up a step. And then let the leg come back behind you again. So as you do this, you can, if you want, do these little kind of, they're just leg is swinging up and then swinging back. You can bend the supporting knee if you need, right? So just let it feel good. Let it feel like a release. You can go whatever tempo you want. You can keep that right knee bent. You can come into a straighter right knee if you want. You can go a little down more with your body if you want. Just let it be fun, easy. Finish off the one you're on. Come on back down so you can turn around with your right hand to the wall. And we're going to come into tree pose with the left heel coming in again, either to the inside of your ankle. So your outside leg is the one that's up. Or you can bring the foot into the inside of your calf. Totally up to you how high you go up with that leg, you know. Hand on the wall, bring your gaze forward. And then when your gaze is forward, close your eyes for a second. Feel that lift in the front of the supporting leg. Good. And then again, once you open your eyes, maybe you want to balance, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to keep that hand on the wall. If you do bring both arms up, you can kind of try a little bit letting go of the wall if you want to. Or you can keep your fingertips on the wall, right? So just play a little, let it feel good. Good. Nice. Good alignment. One more breath. And then when you're ready, release, turn to face the wall. Get your hands on the wall. You can do fists if you need to, you know that. Step onto your left foot, bring your right knee up in front of you like you're stepping up a step. And then send that leg back behind you, a little low warrior three. And then again, rise that knee up in the front. And then as you send it back, if you feel like you want to come a little more forward with your torso, you can. So make it your own timing again. I mean, you can do these kind of fast if you like, more like kind of a swinging motion. You can kind of just let it be a really easy swinging motion. Just be mindful. Don't just let it be slow motion if it feels better to you. Good. And then finish off the one you're on. Good. Come away from the wall just for a second and let yourself, you can separate your feet as wide as you want. Let your hips circle around. Your knees can be bent, right? Like you're hula hooping, only, not so fast. So, obviously, if you've tried hula hooping lately, it's not as easy as it used to be. And you'd have to be going a lot faster than this with your hips. But I think they've just done something to hula hoops because I can't keep it up anymore when I try doing it. Have they changed the diameter of them or something?
I never could.
You never could? Oh, I used to love hula hooping. Okay, we're going to release. We're going to come back to the wall. We're going to let our left shoulder come to the wall, okay? And bring your left inside arm up the wall, right? Now, I know everybody's shoulders don't do this. If you have to step away from the wall to do it, do. Really, as you bend that left elbow, that's another thing that's really different for all of us, where your hand goes. Keep your gaze forward though. So even if you have to step away from the wall, or even if you have to bring your elbow forward, keep your gaze forward. And then if you can bring the right hand behind you, do. Where you have the hand right to the low back, palm outward. Maybe that's enough right there. You can just stay looking forward, let yourself feel that alignment of your spine. You're more than welcome to bring your hands closer together on your back if you choose to. Not everybody's shoulders want anything to do with that. So be where you can. Let yourself, find that alignment of your pelvis where you're not tucking your tailbone forward, which brings more roundness into that, that hump feeling in the upper back. You have to reach your tailbone back a little bit. And then let yourself imagine you're breathing in and out through your heart. Good. Feel the feet equal in the floor. One more breath. And then we're going to release to step away from the wall and kind of shake out. If you need to swing your arms around as you turn around, do. And we're going to come into the right shoulder towards the wall. Inside right arm comes up the wall. Bring your gaze forward, remember. When you bend that elbow, you have to adjust however you need. Left hand can come behind you if that doesn't bother your left shoulder. Palm can face out. And you can let yourself feel that sense, again, of alignment of your pelvis, right? Tailbone reaching down towards between your heels or a little behind your heels. Because when you tuck your tailbone forward, you can feel what happens in your upper back. It automatically brings it into that hump, that upper back hump. So let yourself just enjoy letting the spine align itself here once you get that focus forward. Beautiful. Feel equal between your feet. Nice. One more breath. And then when you're ready, step away. Let your arms come on down. Swing them around just a little bit. We're going to go back onto our mats, and we're going to come down onto the floor, onto our bellies. So once you come back, let yourself come on down, however is best for you, you know that. And go ahead and make a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead. Let yourself be mindful of just releasing here. You can bend your knees. You can move through your feet. You can let your legs go from side to side. Just be really mindful, take your time. Do what feels really good for your own back and hips. Think about your feet and your toes a little bit too, right? So, I mean, if you circle through your ankles, think about really your feet and all the way into your toes. Good. And then we'll come on back down to long legs. Let's come on to our forearms if we can, with our elbows pretty close to under our shoulders for Sphinx. Now, if you feel better to do this, to have your arms forward and let yourself not go up as high, do it, right? You don't want to put any kind of sense of discomfort in your low back. The other thing you can do is slide, if your shoulders feel better, you can slide them this way, right? So you're not up so high. Or you can have the elbows supporting you. So it really depends on you. Let yourself just enjoy feeling a little more openness here in the front body. And this bit of a back bend. Good. Be comfortable in your neck. So, think about your head kind of being in line with your spine. So you're not doing this, right? Which really tenses up the back of the neck. One more breath. And then come down a little bit, clasp your hands, bend your knees. See if you can lift up into a half forearm plank on your forearms. You're on the flesh above your knees. Pull yourself towards the front of the mat a little bit. Let yourself feel that core body engaging immediately. Your low back, your belly, your hips. Enjoy that strength there. Good. One more breath. And then release, come down, let your arms release down alongside your body. And on your next inhale, just float your head up enough to get your nose off the floor. Or your mask, which is probably a little bit longer than your nose. And then see if you can float your legs up a little bit too. It doesn't have to be high to be engaging your back body in locust. If your hands can float up, let them join. You're reaching your fingertips and your toes back towards the foot of your mat. Feeling really that openness across your chest, but you're using your back body here. One more breath. And then let yourself release down, and we're going to shift back onto hands and knees to go through towards child's pose. And child's pose for you might mean your hips staying up in the air. It might mean bringing your hips back more towards your heels. That is totally up to you, and you know that. You have to be really mindful of how your knees feel. And if you need to use support, you can always use your hands or your arms for a pillow for your head. If you're forward, you can just let your hips stay up and let your head come on down towards the floor, your hands, whatever feels good. Just let the breath come into the low back. Feel the low back literally expanding with your breath. So like if my hands were right there above your buttocks, they would rise when you breathe in. Good. One more breath. And we are going to let ourselves rise on up from here. We're going to turn around to bring our legs in front of us. But actually, from there, you want to get your straps handy, because we're going to go down onto our backs from here, and we want to be able to reach our straps when we're on our back. So take your time, come on down, let your feet be on the floor once you get there. Let your knees come a little bit from side to side, just a little bit, just so you shift from the top of one hip to the top of the other. Let it feel good. Now if you want to go down more with your knees, do it. If it feels really good to let the knees come lower down, go right ahead.
If it feels better to keep them just a little bit side to side, do that. All right. Good. And then, once your knees come back up to the top, let's get our strap, and let's bring our strap onto the ball of our right foot. All right, so we get the strap across the ball of our foot, across the base of the big toe mound and the little toe mound. Yeah, if this hurts, don't do it. So let yourself be easy. You can bend that right knee. You can let the leg come as far away from you as you want. You know that. As you start to think of extending your left leg down long on the floor, that will be kind of telling. You don't have to do that. You can put the foot back on the floor if you'd rather. So as you're here, you take your time, keep the right knee bent a little bit if that feels better. Remember, you don't want to feel like you're trying to just pull your leg in towards you. You are engaging in your muscles. As you stretch your hamstring here, you're pressing into the ball of your foot a little bit. So you're actually engaged in the front and the back of your leg, which will keep you from going too far. So don't really pull. Just let yourself enjoy letting the back of the leg have time to open there. Keep pressing gently into the strap with your foot. Good. One more breath here. And then bring both ends of the strap into your right hand. Left hand is going to come just to the top of your left hip pointer bone there. And open your leg to the right. It doesn't matter whether you go 2 inches or 2 feet. Or, totally up to you. Be really mindful. Take your time. Press still gently into that strap with your foot. So you're feeling that engagement as you come into your inner thigh. And that outward hip rotation. Good. And now we'll come back up to the top. We're going to bring our left hand over to get the strap. Stretch your right arm out beside you and bring the leg across to the left, maybe 2 inches. Again, it could be just like you did to the other side. Might be 2 inches with the right hip all the way still on the floor, right? If that feels good. I'm not sure good is the feeling, but it sure gets the outside of your leg. Or you can keep going. If you like to bring the leg over farther, do. If you like to just bring it barely across the midline, do. It's a different feeling into the outside of the leg, obviously. So be where you can. Good. And then we're going to slowly come on back up to the top with that leg. We're going to bring the left foot up there to take the place of the right one. You can put your right foot on the floor till you get situated with that strap across the base of the ball of the foot there. Once you kind of get okay, if you like to extend your right leg long, do. Remember, you can bend that left knee a little bit, press into the strap with the ball of the foot. So you're engaged as you're stretching into the leg here, into the back of the leg. So again, it's not like you're pulling. You're not trying to just forcefully pull this leg in towards you at all. Just by pushing into that strap with the ball of the foot and letting your leg be there, even if it's far away from you, you're still getting into the back of your leg. Good, and just breathe. See if you can let go through your face. Try as much as possible to let your shoulders release and your hands. I know it's really hard not to grip with your hands, but one more breath. And then go ahead and switch to hold both ends of the strap with your left hand. We're going to open the leg to the left. Let your right hand be on the top of your right hip. And just stay grounded in that right side. So again, it might be 2 inches, it might be 2 feet. Press into the strap with your foot. You don't have to go far to feel that up into your hip. It doesn't mean you have to lower the leg way down. Good. And then we're going to come on back up. Switch hands. We're going to go the other way with the leg. So again, how far you go, totally up to you. Take your time. Let yourself go where you can. Feel the strap still by pressing the foot a little into your strap. One more breath. And then let yourself come back up. Now let's put both feet up there if we can. Let both feet come into the strap. It can come as far away. The feet can come as far away as you want. And then separate your feet. You know, you might be comfortable with your feet like 2 feet apart. You might be comfortable to let your feet go 3 feet apart. You might want to go all the way to where you're holding the very ends of your strap and your feet are as far apart as they can go on that strap. Totally up to you. You've got control. You've got the strap. You've got how far apart you want your feet to go, and you control it there with your hands. So just enjoy. Let yourself just feel that nice. Now, if you can, see about sending your tailbone down a little bit so that you're not, you know, you can collapse your low back into the floor. So maybe you want to do another easy little twist of some kind. There's no right or wrong right now. You're going to just listen to what the body is kind of craving, because your body will do it. It will tell you what it wants. Take your time. Start to move around to get lights out, and then I would love to pick up bolsters, blankets, or anything else that sounds good for you to have some support. Literally, that could be anything. So remember, if you lie back and you're uncomfortable with your neck, sometimes a little bit of a blanket underneath your head can be really good. Are you okay with me to turn this down? And sometimes a bolster underneath the knees just changes the angle of your pelvis enough to where you can relax more in your back. So, bolster? Okay. No? Blanket? So let me know if bolster sounds good to you. You already got yours? You do. And if you're not comfortable, just wave at me, because sometimes really just a little bit of adjustment can help a lot. If your back's bothering you, or a shoulder, or a hip. Because for the next few minutes, it's all you want to do is be able to let yourself relax. Appreciate the ground underneath you and
give your body time to align by the floor, right? Because really, if you lie on the floor, your body will align itself. When you're just relaxed, you're not trying to do something, right? So give up on the trying to do anything right now and just let yourself appreciate being cradled by the ground and just watching your breath in and out. That wave-like motion of the breath is so quieting and calming. So just give yourself these few minutes. Let your breath lead you into those quieter places. And allow yourself to completely and fully relax.
feel your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet, and feel like moving again. Just move naturally, the way that feels good for you. That whether you need to stay on your back and stretch or bring your knees in. Maybe you feel better to roll onto your side. You can roll to either your right or your left side. Use your arm as a pillow there if you want to stay there for a couple of breaths to give yourself time to adjust. Just be easy so that when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, you can get comfortable in the way you're sitting and let yourself just enjoy coming back up to be upright again, getting your head back there again up on top. Doesn't matter how you sit, you know that, just be comfortable. Let your head feel really light up there as you close your eyes gently and come back to your breath.